One of the things that we've known, and we've identified this some while back, and this is not news to the board. Frankly, it shouldn't be news to the public. The 1,000-car parking garage isn't going to be done. Now, that's not ideal. You know, the goal was always to have that garage open at some point just after the beginning of the season, and that just didn't happen. The good news is the state is working on that garage right now. If you go down there today, if you drive down 5th or 3rd Avenues, you see a lot of construction and a lot of things going on. So that's the good news. What we had to do when we realized that the garage wasn't going to be opened in a relative manner to the opening of our ballpark is we had to come up with a traffic plan. So what we did was we assembled a group, many groups, and solicited input, and we've been working on this since probably Thanksgiving. And some of those groups have included Metro Public Works, the Metro Police Department. Those two groups specifically do a lot of our special events here in town. So if you see these 5K runs, if you see a concert at the arena, if you go to an LP field game, you know, these are the groups that really work on these plans every day in our city. And I think by and large, they do a good job. We also had input from the construction team and obviously the Sounds. The Sounds are a critical partner in this because you know, we've all been there, right? Whether you're going to a restaurant, whether you're going to church, whether you're going to go somewhere else in our community, you know, parking is that first experience that you have with whatever venue or whatever group you're going to. So it was really critical that we worked with the Sounds to make sure that we did the best that we possibly could to identify and recognize that you know, the traffic, how do you get there, and then B, how do you park and get to this facility was really important. So today what we wanted to do is kind of unveil and kind of roll out this plan that we've been kind of talking about and discussing for some time. And we kind of, there's a lot of people who had their hands in this, and we want to thank all of them. But today we specifically have Jason Reinbold from the Central Precinct, on the far left of the board, Doug Scopel with the Sounds, whom you all know have been around, and then Russell Payne, who's also familiar with this board. They work with us to park people at LP Field. You know, the Downtown Partnership every day transports people from our facilities into downtown Nashville as part of some of the economic development pieces that we as an authority try to complement with the city's efforts. So these gentlemen will be presenting. So today, as we get into this traffic and transportation plan on your screens, what you'll see before you is the plan. Just to highlight a few things before I start calling on these guys to talk about it, and I'll come back up to kind of recap and do some summary, is this plan will be, and we'll talk about where this will be housed, but this will be broadly distributed. This plan is meant for the general public. This plan, we think, really points out to folks specific places where they can park. And really central to this was, and the mayor really wanted this as a central piece of this, is we wanted to have components that exercised convenience to the ballpark and an array of parking options. So central to this, you can see the Metro Courthouse parking garage. It's in red on your screen. It's located right there at James Robertson Parkway. That parking garage is the central component to this. And Russell will talk about that. It features a shuttle that connects from that parking structure to 5th and Harrison, which is the central drop-off point at the ballpark. A shuttle that will also return patrons to that facility at the end of the game. So that's a central component to it. And by the way, it costs $5. And that $5 is really important because that's exactly what someone would pay at the end of last season if they were to go to your stadium. So no surprise there. So we've really kept an affordable parking option. But we also have another affordable parking option is we have we've identified about 1,900 spaces that will be free. So if folks don't mind a short walk, we have a free parking option. And then we'll let Russell speak to the private parking. We've identified private parking in the area that will be kind of around the ballpark. These are private businesses, private folks who have parking areas, and you know, they may have folks that want to come out and sell parking, and that's fantastic. That only complements our efforts. And what we're pleased to say is when we've identified this, we've looked at this, and we've known this really since the beginning. In fact, we've offered this statistic up since we came to the board for approvals in December 2013, is all the experts tell us in these matters that folks are willing to walk about a half mile from a venue for this kind of entertainment. So what we did was, excluding anything north of Jefferson Street, we've identified about 6,100 spaces. Okay? To put that into perspective, if you go to Greer Stadium today, they had 1,500. So we have 6,000 parking places available to us, free parking, paid parking, and other options. So we feel really, really good about where we are, and we want to drill down into this plan today and kind of let you know what you can do. And that's, by the way, that's 6,000 parking places, not counting the downtown core. Okay, so there's a lot of really good parking around there. And so what I'm going to do right now is ask Tom. Well, Russell, I'm sorry, I thought Tom first. I looked at the first name. Talk about his.
I'm pinch
Tom is back here. That's good. We'll let Russell speak to their piece of this today.
All right. Good morning, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Russell Payne. I'm the Vice President of Operations for the Nashville Downtown Partnership. And I wanted to talk to you about three things that we've been working on this team, trying to make sure that the patrons in the city has a good, positive experience on opening day. Toby alluded to the shuttle service, and I don't know if you can see it, but it will start at the Metro Public Courthouse. It will be $5. That will include the parking and the shuttle ride. We will offer up to 800 spaces in that facility. Putting that in perspective, for about 2.5 people per car, that will almost accommodate 2,000 people, or about 20% of that stadium on its own if it is utilized. So we expect the lead times to be about 5 minutes each way. So once they step on a shuttle, we should have them right there almost at the front door in about 5 minutes. We will adjust our service levels as the patron levels increase or decrease. But I think it's going to be a fantastic option for everybody there. Easy in, easy out. I think once they get on the shuttle like they do with the Beep event for the Bridgestone Arena, they realize how easy it is to get in and out. So we'll be working with them and are excited to launch that on April 17th. The second piece of the puzzle I wanted to talk to you about was the website that we're developing. We currently have a Park It Downtown website. If you look up anything related to downtown parking, Nashville parking, downtown Nashville parking, you're going to get our website. It is the first thing that was going to pop up. It had over 780,000 views last year, so it is highly utilized. And what we have done is we have put a placard on there for Sounds Parking. Once you get there, it will take you directly to a shot, much like that will show you all the free and all the paid parking options in that area. So we think that's going to be fantastic. The Sounds are going to link that to their page as well, so it'll just push directly to ours. The last piece I wanted to talk to you about was just a different access transportation option is the B-cycle stations. There is going to be one at First Tennessee Park launched that day, and First Tennessee has graciously agreed to sponsor free rides to the game that day. So that'll be another interesting way for people to get to the downtown area. And that's pretty much the majority of it, unless you have any questions.
Doug?
Thank you, and good morning. As was mentioned earlier, fan experience for us is vitally important to the success of this. This is an area of town that people haven't really gone to for events before, so there's a lot of education and communication on our end that we need to get out about a lot of things, and the parking and traffic is a big part of that. How do we get to the game? How do we get there safely? How do we get there quickly? That kind of thing. And this has been a great group to work with. They all care about the success of this facility for the city, and we are a part of that. What's not shown on the map was something we're going to communicate in the future to our season ticket holders and suite holders is their parking options, and our game day employees, that's not on there. So we will have additional communication to them as well as our general fan base on this particular plan. That'll come in the near future. This is a plan that's going to continue to evolve. We got 49 days till opening day. We're going to have constant communication with our fans, people trying to get to the facility throughout that time frame all the way up until April 17th when we open up. But the main thing here is we want to make sure that fans understand that this has been thought through. There is an efficient way for people to get to the game and to get that in their hands. Our staffing, from the Sounds perspective, I talked about the fan experience. It starts with the parking attendants. It goes all the way till whoever sells you a hot dog or shows you to your seat. We're going to have much higher staffing levels at First Tennessee Park than we ever had at Greer Stadium, for those of you that have gone to our games. That's important to us. We need to overserve and be there to make it just a wonderful experience all the way through. And we're going to do our part to be out in the streets, but we're not the only ones that are going to be there. We also have great cooperation from the police department, and I'll let Jason kind of speak on what they're going to do in addition to our staffing.
Yes, he's exactly right. Our police department is committed to staffing each of the Nashville Sounds home games and to ensure the safety of pedestrians and motorists as they're attending and leaving the events. We've been involved since the beginning of the process as far as the planning aspects go. Lieutenant David Corman is with me. If you'd stand up just to be acknowledged. He's our special events coordinator for our department. And like any large event, such as 4th of July, and I thought maybe he was still standing. Like the 4th of July events, CMA or New Year's Eve, he does a tremendous job. His job is to analyze the needs of that traffic plan to ensure the safety of everyone attending as well as others that are not. And he did that in this circumstance. He developed and formulated a plan that we're going to be utilizing. We're going to be at crosswalks to help pedestrians as well as at key intersections to help vehicular traffic continue to move without interruption. We're not going to divert any traffic. What that means is we're not going to send vehicles down other roads than normal. So all the roads will be open in this plan. We'll be extending traffic signals to ensure the safety of the pedestrians and the motorists so we can assist them in getting where they need to get to. As far as the staffing goes, we are going to have 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and 18 officers that will be operating this traffic plan. None of these, it's important to know that none of these police personnel are coming from precinct levels, so that means that patrol staffing countywide is not impacted. In essence, these are just extra officers that we're employing to manage these home games. The assistance is going to be provided before games as well as after games, but there's a big window of during the games. And what we've seen in the past is don't let the officers just sit around and do nothing during the games. Downtown during Predator games, what we'll do during the games or even Titans games, we take advantage of that opportunity by dispersing those officers, and they're assigned to go to very particular parking lots, both public and private, to ensure the public safety is maintained in those lots as well. Before I became a commander, about 5 years ago, our auto burglaries were significantly higher than they are today. Last week we didn't have any. Those are great trending numbers. So when Lieutenant Corman implemented that aspect to the plan, our auto burglaries and the crime in the downtown area dropped even further. And so I appreciate those efforts. That's like having extra officers downtown. As the season progresses, as you would expect, we're going to assess and revise the plan and update the plan as we go forward.
Thank you. So these websites, these are some helpful websites. So, the good thing is they'll show up on Channel 3. And so this is a good way to promote the helpful websites to individuals out there who may be watching. But also, we'll be posting and linking these websites from the Sports Authority webpage, from the Sounds webpage, et cetera, so that people can see it. But the Downtown Partnership, the Park It Downtown, it's a fantastic website. It will be very useful for the Sounds, but if you're ever going to any event downtown, it's a great website to go visit because it tells you where to park and how much it is, how many spaces are available, so it's a fantastic resource for our city. The Music City Circuit obviously is a huge component of this plan. If you live in, if you're a conventionaire in downtown Nashville, staying at a hotel, if you live in an apartment downtown, or if you work at a law firm or wherever downtown, you could take a free bus to 5th and Harrison for games. If you live in the Gulch, or you're enjoying our city down over on that end of town, you can get a free shuttle from the games. Again, we think this is a really helpful thing. We run these all the time, so hopefully individuals are using them. But particularly for our game day operations, loading the stadium from folks from south of the stadium going north, we think a lot of people will use these services. B-cycle, we don't want to forget this. There's other modes of transit, right? Our mayor talks about that a lot. We want to talk about healthy living. And frankly, we're getting to be a big city. And when you go to big cities and you see big city events, they utilize multimodal forms of transit. So B-cycle, there's B-cycle stations all over. And we're going to have a B-cycle station right outside the stadium. So that's a fantastic and useful thing. There's a greenway. There's plenty of sidewalks in the area, so there's a lot of multimodal use. And of course, our Sports Authority website, which we're always updating, which we're always doing things with, and for First Tennessee Park, and it'll be no different for this particular transportation plan. So one of the things that we want to do and invite our board members, anybody in the public out to, is a community meeting. We want to present this to the community. We'll do so in this room here at the Sunny West Conference Center at 700 2nd Avenue South on Monday, March 16th at 5 p.m. Courtney Wheeler in the office, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhoods, have these flyers. They'll be presented out. They'll go out to all of the neighborhood associations, people who live down in this area, businesses and whatnot. Try to encourage them to come, see the presentation, ask critical questions. We think that's really important, and we want to emphasize that, because what we know is, and the good thing is I work with David Corman all the time. He does such a fantastic job. What we know is no plan is perfect. You know, this is an area of town, and Ron alluded to this. This is an area of town that 54, 55 weeks ago, folks didn't go to. And there's a lot of really interesting things happening, and so it's going to be the first time for folks to get there. So we would caution the public, these first couple homestands, it's going to be busy. You know, people have to figure that out. If everybody remembers, that's exactly the conversation that happened at LP Field. You know, that first time, well, where are we going? You know, and over time it sorted it out. And the reason it sorted it out is people were patient, and we appreciate that. But folks like David and his team and our working group for this traffic and parking plan, it's good. We're going to get together and we're going to tweak it, and we're going to listen to folks, and we're going to make sure this works, because it's just vital to the experience. But once again, we think that on this plan, people are mainly going to come from the I-24 area over the bridges. We're hopeful that they're going to go to that 800 parking spaces that are in that courthouse parking garage and utilize that shuttle. We're hopeful that they're going to use those MTA routes. You know, we're very fortunate to have worked with the state to arrange and make sure that we have that free parking option for folks. So there's a whole blend of things here for different people. And you think with that, just really making sure I would be that'd be important to not mention this, but the purple parking lot right there in the center, that's an ADA parking lot. We wanted to identify that for folks out there. It'll be available in all the parking lots have ADA spaces available, of course. But this is a specific designated parking lot that we're going to have a controlled area there. Someone will be an attendant there. And we'll make sure that ADA folks who want to patron the ballpark have somewhere to go and park. That'll be a free parking lot. First come, first served. They have to have the proper decal or placard to get into those spots. But we wanted to make sure that we had that, and that's just a really important part of the plan as well. So I would have been resident. I would have been bad if I hadn't mentioned that. So I thank everybody, and I hope that people will take a look at this and provide input back to us, come and participate in that community meeting. And I'd like to open it up for any questions or comments from the board.
Okay, Dudley, you have
I have a comment, a couple of questions. First, I think that y'all have done a very good job of putting together a plan to address this parking issue this season. It's my understanding that this plan is being put together because there was a state, not a metro, but a state parking garage that's not going to be available for the season. Is that correct?
That's correct. So part of the transaction that existed that we brought before the board in December of 2013 was several land swaps, but the state, we paid the state for the land, and we paid the state for that parking garage. They will own it, and they will build it. Right. In the long term, in the future, 2016 season, say, the Sounds will have use of that through the Sports Authority. We'll have an agreement with the state that we can use that.
Two questions. Why was it delayed? And would it be possible to have a representative from the state regarding the parking garage here at our next meeting?
We can make that ask. I would defer to them and their construction team about the reasons why it was late or deferred. I would let them answer that. And we'll be happy to invite them to see if they'd come. We've worked very closely with them, and they've been responsive. They understood, I think we've had many good talks with them. They understood that not having that structure ready has inconvenienced the ballpark. And they've worked with us to provide a lot of that free parking solution.
Well, like I say, again, I'm just going to be complimentary of the people that are here. Y'all have done a very good job putting together a plan. The downtown partnership, Metro Police, the Sounds, y'all have really worked hard. It's evident on this, and I think it's a very workable plan. I think I feel good about what y'all have done, and I'm just interested in why we have to do it.
Well, noted, we'll make that ask for the March meeting.
Rip has a question.
Yeah, I agree with what Doug has said about the plan. I've got a couple of questions. On the ADA parking, how many spaces will be in that?
It looks like it's 30 to 40 spots, Rip.
That's not a whole lot. You mentioned about Jefferson Street, north of Jefferson Street. Is there any parking north of Jefferson?
We are discouraging that. That is a area of our town that is being revitalized and is just frankly booming. The businesses and restaurants and everybody, there's a lot of different things up there. We want to, they're excited about this project. A lot of them will come and participate and they'll benefit from the project. But there's traffic concerns up there. There's parking concerns up there. And we want to do everything that we can to discourage that because we don't want to impact that area.
All right, and then the other question I've got is on the streets by the stadium itself, 5th, 6th, 7th. Will they be two-way streets or one-way? Or any of them one-way?
I'm sorry, Rick. The
Well, like
traffic,
5th Avenue, is it a two-way street
I think Jason.
by the
one-way.
stadium?
You can take it. I can help a little bit on that. We did do a traffic study that's calling 5th will remain two-way. 3rd Avenue is long-term going to be two-way. Right now, we've got, CSX has got to reconfigure that railroad crossing on 3rd, and that's going to take some time. So a section of 3rd will remain one way going north. Is that right? And that, so that's still being worked out. We're not sure when CSX is going to reconfigure that gate. Once they do that, it'll be two-way.
Okay. And I guess this is a question for Doug. How's ticket sales going?
They're going well. They're pacing well. We need the weather to warm up a little bit so people start thinking about baseball. But no, there's a lot of excitement, Rip, and they're going well. We look forward to having good crowds come April.
I think I read somewhere where the capacity is 10,000.
Yes.
So my question is, and I guess I may be one that go back to the old Suffolk Dale sites when you had 10,000 people show up at the old Suffolk Dale site and we had to sit in the outfield. So what would you do if you had 12 or 15,000 people show up?
Well, we won't be able to accommodate that many. I mean, we'll have to have a control on what our capacity is, and if we get to a sellout situation, we have a sellout, which we hope we have a lot of those.
So is there plans in the future for maybe where you could expand?
Right now, no.
Okay. All right.
Chuck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to ditto what you put together, the plan for the parking and everything. Sounds like a great idea. As we at the major league level try to speed up the game of baseball, which is hard to do, and baseball being a game without a clock, games can run long, you have rain delays and stuff. How will your shuttles, if a family wants to leave in the 5th or 6th inning, are the shuttles continuously running?
Yes, sir. They'll be staged up. So we do anticipate people will trickle out. We don't start service and stop service. We start it and continue it until it's done. So they'll be out there waiting for anybody that wants to leave first, second, whenever they want to leave, we'll be there.
Thank you, sir.
Margaret.
I was just wondering about the state lots that are available. Which ones are the state lots that are free parking?
They're largely it's the lots that you, as we look at the map, it's on the left, those blue lots. The majority of those are state lots. 2 of them are the farmers market parking lots.
Okay.
That's along Rosa, all along Roosevelt Park.
And this plan, I think, was alluded to, does not show the season ticket holders, correct? So the parking for them is
This
not
plan
on
that's being
here.
presented is really for the general public, and Doug will be communicating the parking for them separately.
So I assume that's closer to the stadium, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Real quick, to encourage people to use our free transit option, is there communication, Russell, with the local hotel concierge desk for our visitors to really make sure people understand that, we want them to get on a bus and take that for free and alleviate congestion?
Sure. I'm not sure the shuttle that we use will be based for hotel folks. They will be driving their car in. The shuttle is for the patrons that park at that facility. The conversation with MTA needs to be had about reaching out to hotels and the Green Line and whatnot, but I do know they have information at hotels.
And we'll encourage that. One of the pieces that, I probably missed this, but for those people who really use that Music City circulator bus, it didn't run on Sundays. Part of this is we're starting Sunday service for the remainder of the year. So, if you're downtown, you'll be able to hop on this, regardless of what day of the week it is. So that's a really big bonus, not only for patrons of the ballpark, but for tourists around the downtown area. But we'll make sure the MTA reaches out and tries to do so. I know that they do. Their communications team does try to actively encourage and promote this free bus service.
Are there other questions?
I just to summarize again, this is half the people that go to an event at the arena. I was reminded just on the way in today, a week or two ago, they had the hot chocolate run out at Centennial Park, right? 8,000 people went to that. They didn't have a defined parking plan. They didn't have, right? And so if we're all patient and we all work together, we're going to get through this just fine. This is 10,000 people. Half of the arena, a seventh of the people at LP Field. And I think that we have a whole bunch of options. I mean, there was only one way in and one way out at Greer Stadium. And that was more seats than this. And we only had 1,500 defined parking places there. I think we're going to be just fine. And I think we've come up with a really good plan. And it's really important to promote this plan. And we're going to be doing that here in the coming days and listening to the input to this plan.
Are there other questions? I do want to again thank all of you that have been participating in this project, and I want to thank Doug, Jason, Russell, and Toby, and all the ones that assisted you. It's been you have really given serious consideration to it, and we do appreciate it.